Hi, I'm Phil Monkhouse, Realtor in Houston. Today I'm going over Sienna, the neighborhood I live in. It was named Sienna Plantation up until a couple of years ago. Um, so I'm going to go over some of the negative aspects of that people talk about Sienna. Um, I still think it's an amazing place to live. I'm very happy here. But there are some things that people complain about. Probably the biggest one these days would be traffic. But I'm going to split this up into two parts. I don't think I'll be able to get through it all in one video. It'll end up too long. So today I'm just going to talk about the past when Sienna was actually a plantation. It used to be called Arcola Plantation from 1840 up until the I don't know, approximately the end of the Civil War, maybe a little after that. And then related to that, possibly, a lot of residents talk about seeing ghosts in the neighborhood, so it has a reputation for that. So yeah, I just want to go over the history. And I'll point you in. I'm not going to go into all of it because there is a lot of history here, but I'll post some links so you can read up on your own because there's a lot of interesting, sad stories to read about. And then I just want to go over the flooding during Harvey, a long time ago now, and there's improvements have been made, but I just wanted to go over that briefly because it is a thing that's mentioned and asked about when people ask me to show them homes. And then, let's see, the toll road and the train tracks that lead to the toll road, and then separately the train tracks that lead to a huge power plant that's nearby Sienna. So I just want to go over all that stuff. And then next week I'll try to touch on traffic, improvements that are coming longer term, the advantages of living in the front versus the back. Just tell you the front for traffic reasons and grocery shopping, stuff like that, and restaurants, of course. But then the back, more of the neighborhood amenities like the workout centers and stuff and the pools. There's more back there. Alligators, not really a big factor, just an interesting thing. So I have some pictures that neighbors have posted on Facebook before. Complaints about the town center that's been long kind of, people say it's promised. I think it's still coming. I don't know what was said, but a lot of people said they were promised that it was going to happen as far back as the late 90s. And they thought it was like imminent, but still hasn't happened yet. But I'll show you where that's going to be happening. And then some of the restaurants, we have a hard time keeping restaurants around here just because such a bedroom community, I guess, is part of it. And then sometimes people tend to get overly negative and post their opinions publicly. Maybe that's part of it too. And then talking about the HOA is pretty good here. No, I don't have any complaints, but people do complain. And the taxes and just about the amenities. Some things that could be improved. Again, we have amazing amenities, but there's always room for improvements. All right, so let's jump right in here. So this is the Sugar Perjury building. This is a unique building. It's at the back of Sienna. I'll show you a map at the end, but this is thought to be the last building of its kind in the U.S. It was definitely worked, slaves definitely worked in here, including, let me show you, next picture here. There was a brick, I forget what a brick facility is called, but it's a brick making facility. So slaves made these bricks as well. And let's see what else to show you here. The timbers in here as well were thought to come off the land as well. So this used to be called Arcola Plantation. Starting in about 1840, Jonathan Dawson Waters moved to Texas and started buying land to grow cotton and sugarcane. By 1860, Arcola Plantation was one of the largest in Texas, and Waters was the richest man in Fort Bend County. In 1860, he owned 216 slaves, making him the third largest slave owner in Texas. Sugar plantations were even more brutal than other types of plantations, with an even lower life expectancy. Waters was known as an especially harsh slave owner with a reputation for overworking slaves and feeding them nothing but cornmeal mush. And just as an aside, in 1847, he shot and killed a neighbor in front of the neighbor's wife with a group of men over a property dispute. And there's no record of him being tried for the murder. So, yeah, kind of a very rough character. He kind of did what he wanted, I guess. So, yeah, that's the sugar refinery building. The developer Sienna is trying to find an entity to take care of this building, to help maintain it. And I'll show you where these are I think copper bowls is the right word. I'll provide links for all this stuff, where I got my information from. There's a Houston Chronicle article, and there's also this really amazing website called Life on the Brazos. I think that's what it is. I'll post the link anyway. Just a ton of information on that website. This is down by the amphitheater by Club Sienna, and there's a plaque with a little bit of information down here to read about as well. So yeah, this is down where the sugar perjury actually is. You're not supposed to go here. It's trespassing if you do, but just so you know where it is. This would be Thornton and Leonetti. So down Sienna Parkway, and this down here would be the Sienna Point part that's not part of Sienna. Just one more map of it. So there's the building right there. So yeah, that's it for the perjury and the sad history that goes along with it. Let me show you on a map. So related to Sienna's dark past, a lot of residents claim that there are ghosts in Sienna. There's a couple cemeteries. This is just, there's a couple cemeteries. I don't know the exact locations. This is Oyster Creek, and this is the Fort Bend Toll Road, and this would be Sienna Parkway over here. Apparently there's one somewhere in this area, or maybe back over here. I'm not really sure where that would be. This is Watts Plantation Road down here. There's one ghost that people claim to see the most of. It's a little girl in a white nightgown, and various sightings reported throughout Sienna. I don't really believe in this, but a lot of residents do. There's also a report of, I've heard someone say a headless man before, a Civil War soldier, and a very thin man dressed as a farmer. Here, there's several cemeteries around, including there's an old Scanlon mansion. There was a cemetery around that place as well. I'll show that another day. Yeah, just too much information for one day today, but that is later in the history of Sienna. There's apparently one behind the baseball fields by water, so somewhere around here, I'm guessing. So yeah, rumors of ghosts. So if ghosts scare you, Sienna might not be the place for you. Yeah, so moving on to flooding during Harvey. Long time ago, since that happened, that was Hurricane Harvey was summer of 2017. So there was, I don't know, 9,000 homes or so at the time in Sienna, maybe 8,500. So 70 homes had some water in them, just a couple of inches. It wasn't a failure of the levees or anything like that. What happened was, here's the Brazos River, and here's the levee that protects us from the Brazos River. And I zoom out a bit. The Brazos River continues heading, well, here it's south, but then it continues heading southeast till it gets to the ocean. So all the water, so this geographically, as we go down here, the elevation is going to get continually lower as we head towards the ocean. So all the water in Sienna drained, well, when it rained here, it all pushed down here and collected. This is where there's some pumping stations. There's a couple areas where there's pumping stations. But there's so much water, it couldn't be pumped out in time, so it started backing up into the streets and then got into a few homes. Since Harvey, there's 5 times the amount of pumping capacity has been added. So, that probably won't be an issue ever again. But that's what happened. Just the water got trapped inside and couldn't be pumped out fast enough. It's not like water came from the Brazos River that flooded over and ended up in here. So there was some street flooding. I can show you the areas that had some, if you want to look at homes and discuss further, I can definitely help with that. I won't want to point them out on a video here, but I can show you the areas. If you're interested, most of the areas in Sienna didn't have street flooding or anything at all that you could drive around, no issues at all, but some areas in the lower areas did. But like I said, I don't think that would be an issue, again, just my opinion, but the lid has put the lid, which is the levee improvement district, spent a lot of money fixing things up, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore. So now I'll go over the toll road, what's happening. So this is the toll road expansion that's happening right now. Just want to show you this. So this is from going into Houston, and this is going back deeper into Sienna. This is Sienna Parkway heading over to Sienna Ranch. And let me just back up here. This chunk of land here is meant to be future office buildings, maybe some multifamily. They're hoping to get, this is a big chunk of land. I forget how big, but it's big. And they're hoping to get a big tenant in there to help support. I'll show you over here. This section over here, another huge chunk of land. This is where the the Sienna Town Center is supposed to be. There is a Fort Bend Town Center that's being developed right now that's outside of Sienna. This is in Sienna. This is the one that residents really complain about, as if it's never going to happen. It will. The developers of Sienna, they're not going to go ahead and build it out. They're waiting for like the big tenant to come in and start developing it. So that's what they're hoping for. And because they'll have lots of restaurants and stuff, they're hoping that the workers on this side can help support this side. So anyway, that's what the plan is. People have saying since Sienna opened, they were promised this was happening like right away. Maybe the salespeople said that at the time. I'm not sure, but eventually I'm sure that's what will happen. But yeah, people are kind of fed up waiting for that. So yeah, this is into Houston to the Med Center. And this goes into deeper into Sienna and to Sienna Ranch. So let me show you over here. This is where it's going to terminate for now. So that's going over to Sienna Parkway. This is at Sienna Ranch. And this is in the future where it's going to continue on. I'll show you on a map in a second. That's going down to eventually over the Brazos River and connecting up to the future Grand Parkway. Okay, so that's that. And I just want to show you a few views. This is before, they have some concrete down in this area now. This is just in between Sienna Parkway and Sienna Ranch. I was just showing a house and I took some pictures. So this is further along, but this is kind of what it's going to be looking like. And this is me like over the fence taking a picture. And then this is like from a 2-story home, backs up to the tollway, or at least the side of the house is on the tollway. This is kind of what their view is. So they're not going to get a lot of traffic. I'll show you, especially at the start, because this house is like actually like down here or something like that. And this is only going to pick up traffic on Sienna Ranch, and Sienna Ranch does not get a ton of traffic until this gets developed in the future. Who knows how long that is, years, but eventually there will be some traffic when that, this is going to terminate down at a master plan community. Let me show you on a map what's going to happen. So this is the area being built right now. This is the part with the bridge. This is the part where it's going to terminate. At Sienna Ranch, Sienna Parkway. This goes into Houston. And And this is what's going to happen. You can see where it's going to continue on. It's going to cross over the Brazos River. I'm not going to try to accurately, there are maps out there where this happens. I'm not going to try to sort that out, but it goes over the Brazos River. This section here of 99 is going to come through. I don't know if it's south of this big lake or on top of it. Anyway, they're going to meet up, and it's going to be, I think, the final location. There was some arguing over where this was going to end up, but I think it's in the middle of this new giant master plan community that's almost going to be as big as Sienna, that's going to end up down here. Again, I don't remember where. Maybe it's down here. But those two are going to meet up. And then this section 99 is going to, well, get to 288. That would be a great first step. I'd love to see that happen and make mobility down here so much better. But then eventually that ring is going to close, and where is it over here? Yeah, here's 99 over here. So these two will eventually connect, which will complete the Grand Parkway because the rest of it is complete. Yeah, so moving on from that. Oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to get into today was the train that runs through Sienna. I don't live down there. Just from reading online, there are 3 trains a day that come through here. And the reason is they are bringing coal down to, oh, let me see, those train tracks back. They're bringing coal down to, there's a giant coal power plant down here. It's the 4th biggest power plant in the US, actually. The WA Parish plant. There's 4 coal-fired units and 4 natural gas units down here. It's built in 1958, and it supplies 15% of Houston's energy, or electricity anyway. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. I'll provide a link to this one as well for more info. If people had concerns about living so close to a coal plant, which coal apparently does cause a lot of health implications, there was a huge carbon capture project finished up in 2017 here. I think over $1 billion was spent to try to capture some of those emissions. So that should help. What was I going to say? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, part 2, I'll also touch on the schools because there was some rezoning done. So things are always changing because the population is growing so fast here. But yeah, I wanted to touch on that as well. Hopefully there's some stability in the schools for a little while at least. Oh, and one more thing about that slave owner, Jonathan Waters. Again, I'll post a link on more information. I don't remember reading, I don't know if it's much as known how it ended up. I just know that most of those slave owners after the Civil War were ruined financially. But under new ownership from 1875 to 1911, they kind of, owners were able to continue on using leased convict labor, which is pretty much another form of slavery, really. But anyway, touching more on that, there's a huge story in Sugar Land about a big cemetery that was unearthed when they were building a new school. Yeah, lots of sad, interesting history around here. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll touch on some more of the concerns about Sienna next week. Thank you. Bye.